Hello everyone, a warm welcome to our viewers from around the world for joining us this auspicious afternoon on the Polity, reaching you live from the Abuja studio of King Adebayo Film and Theatre Arts Network, popularly known as KAFTAN Television, where we all imagine a beautiful world. My name is Macauley Hunohashi, welcoming our esteemed viewers once again from around the world for joining us this auspicious afternoon. The Polity is a program that takes a deep dive and goes below the headlines of unfolding political events within Nigeria and even beyond the shores of the country. The most dominant topic today in the last 48 hours globally is about International Labour Day. This important day on May 1st of every year, Nigeria joins over 80 countries around the world to celebrate Workers' Day, also known as Labour Day or May Day, as it is popularly called in Nigeria. This important day is set aside to honor the contributions, sacrifices, and resilience of workers who keep nations and economies running. The day traces its origin, if we may choose to know, to the 1886 labor protest in Chicago, United States of America, advocating for an 8-hour workday. Although the protests led to conflicts, they birthed a global call for better working conditions. By 1890, socialist parties and labor unions in Europe officially declared May 1st of every year as a day of International Worker Solidarity Day. Since then, it has evolved into a globally recognized celebration of the workforce. Precisely in 1980, the People's Democratic Party, the PRP, of Kano State first recognized May 1st as a public holiday in Nigeria. Just a year later, precisely in 1981, it became an official national holiday across the country. Today, Workers' Day in Nigeria is marked with rallies, speeches, and peaceful processions in all states, led by the Nigeria Labour Congress with all other affiliate associations and organizations. As usual, it was pomp and pageantry in Abuja, the nation's capital, where KAFTANTV Labour correspondent Ekaite Ubot was there to capture the speeches, marches, as well as the thrills, glitz, and thrills. Let's have a listen.
Workers' Day, also known as Labor Day or May Day, is celebrated on May 1st every year to honor the contributions and achievements of workers worldwide. The day originated from the international labor movement's efforts to establish an 8-hour workday. The first celebration was held on May 1st, 1886 in the United States, and it gained international recognition at the 1889 Paris Congress of the Second International. Workers' Day is often marked by public holiday in many countries, including Nigeria, where it's been observed since 1981. People gather for parades, rallies, and speeches often addressed by labor leaders and politicians. In this year's commemoration, Nigerian workers, as usual, were not left out. Eagle Square, Abuja, was filled to capacity with workers of various unions fully represented. The atmosphere was charged with excitement as workers were dressed in various charming colors. Speaking at the occasion, the President, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who was represented by the Minister of Labor and Employment, Mohammed Dinjadi, while acknowledging the contributions of Nigerian workers in the nation's economy, pledges commitment in collaborating with the two labor centers in the formation of policies that would address numerous challenges of the Nigerian workers.
This administration stands ready to collaborate with the labor unions, the organized and informal private sector, the civil society organizations, to create policies and programs that safeguard the rights and livelihoods of workers across all sectors of the economy.
Also speaking, the Minister of Labor and Employment, Mohammed Dinjadi, who was represented by the Minister of State for Labor and Employment, Nkiruka Onyejocha, further reiterated commitment in strengthening labor protections, improving job security, and ensuring fairness treatment for all workers in line with the international best practices.
Your voices are heard, your concerns are valid, and your resilience is deeply respected.
Speaking at the occasion, the President, Nigerian Labour Congress, Comrade Joe Ajero, and his counterpart, the President of Trade Union Congress, Comrade Festus Osifo, who bore their minds on numerous challenges affecting the nation and the workers, charged their members not to be deterred in fighting for their rights.
A time to demand justice, reclaim our rights, and fight for Nigeria rooted in equity and democracy. It is a day to challenge those in power to lift the crushing weight of economic hardship and give our nation a chance to rise.
Stop the compression of civic space. Number 2, implement minimum wage that reflect current realities. Number 3, withdraw exploitative tax bill. Number 4, reduce telco tariffs as agreed from 50 to 35%. Number 5, reverse electricity privatization. Number 6, end impunity, killings, and insecurity.
The high point of the event was the march parade by various unions. Nigerian workers join its counterparts all over the world in the commemoration of the 2025 Workers' Day celebration. Messages of hope, resilience, and determination filled the air. From the Eagle Square, Abuja, KAFTANTV.
Well, thank you, Ikaite, for that package report from the Eagle Square, where government officials as well as labor leaders and their associates celebrated this year's Labor Day with pomp and pageantry. But labor leaders say amidst this year's celebration, the day was marked by disappointments, from the failure to implement a living minimum wage to the increasing cost of living with attendant hardship. Nigerian workers are demanding more than recognition. They are demanding change. It is also happening amidst, resurgence of attacks and general insecurity across the length and breadth of Nigeria. Well, the NLC has also condemned the failure of several state governments to fully implement the new minimum wage and consequential salary adjustment. We have a report, on the national minimum wage from our correspondent. Please take a listen. It's going to be brief.
Nigeria workers have called on government for the proper implementation of the consequential adjustments to reflect the current national minimum wage. Speaking at Eagle Square, Abuja, at the commemoration of the 2025 Workers' Day celebration, some of the workers decried that the present national minimum wage has been eroded by the current economic realities in the country.
There wouldn't have been if both the federal and the state keep faith with the consequential adjustment, because it is the consequential adjustment that will bring grade rating at grade level and steps that will make so you can be at the same level, let's say grade level 14, but different step you earn more according to your step. But if the consequential adjustment is not taken seriously, that is where you see the disparity. But even at that, the 70,000 minimum wage is already eroded, and that is the general remark.
My expectations is that, having known and having seen that the 70,000 naira minimum wage cannot buy a bag of rice for a worker, is therefore necessary that the new minimum wage should also be reviewed to be able to take workers home when you take your salary.
They called on governments to address the present discrepancies characterized with the implementation of the 70,000 national minimum wage, as it fails to reflect the consequential adjustment between workers and government during negotiation.
The 70,000 minimum wage has become a mirage, because it is unfortunate to say that what we sign is not what we are seeing. And even at the level of saying that they are paying the minimum wage, we have a very huge tax index in Nigeria. That even as they are paying the minimum wage, what they said they are paid, it's like giving somebody something with the right hand and taking it back with the left hand.
It has reflected, but there is a mutilation in the process, because there were approvals for 40% peculiar allowance. There were approvals for 35 and 25% harmonization allowance, which government, that is the Office of Accountant General, has mutilated. And we have been asking for the Accountant General's office to do the needful so that our worker can get the accurate amount.
It could be recalled that the federal government signed the current 70,000 naira national minimum wage into.
Thank you, Victoria, for that special report. Well, so much is happening within the political space. Labor union leaders are putting up smiling faces in the midst of daunting challenges that against the backdrop of economy that has taken a nosedive. The dollar is having a free fall against the naira is having a free fall against the dollar, and a general insecurity as well as ravaging poverty across the land. But they still took out time to have a celebration, across the country to help us unpack everything that is labor related this auspicious afternoon. Are two comrades that have already joined me live in the studio. On my far right is no other person than Comrade Ibeji Nwokoma. Ibeji Nwokoma, you're welcome to the Polity.
Thank you very much. It's my pleasure to be here.
Well, Ibeji Nwokoma is the National President, National Association of Academic Technologists. We don't take you for granted for being with us.
Thank you very much.
Well,
pleasure.
Next to me with the cap is no other person than another comrade. He's Abubarkkar, Comrade Abubarkkar Yusuf. Abubarkkar Yusuf, you are welcome.
Thank you. It's my pleasure having you.
He is the General Secretary of NAAT, a National Association of Academic Technologists. You are the engine room. But let me start with the National President. What was the theme for this year's celebration? In spite of the mounting, hardship the Nigerians are facing as a result of policies by the current administration, labor leaders, appeared smiling, and there was pomp and pageantry. There was joy on their faces. How would you reconcile that?
Thank you very much. The theme generally this year is the shrinkage of space, and then the place of the workforce in Nigerian economy. What you saw yesterday was suffering in the midst of plenty, smiling but suffering. Of course, you and I knows that since the minimum wage was approved, the 70,000 naira minimum wage was approved, a lot of things had happened. A lot of water has passed through the bridge. Before the introduction of the minimum wage, people who have been asking, why did labor leaders in the first place accept the 70,000 naira minimum wage?
Right.
The minimum wage was not just accepted, there were promises that were made consequent to the approval of the minimum wage, like that there will be no increase in price of PMS. The Naira was also had a free fall. The liberalization of the Naira with the parallel market. These are the things that happened shortly after the approval of the minimum wage. And of course, you will also agree with me that between the time the minimum wage was approved and now, that Naira has lost value by over 170% in its value.
Yes.
And so, 70,000 Naira today cannot buy a bag of rice. You and I knows that. And so why would the Nigerian worker smile? Where is it going to come from? There's nothing to smile about. And even the so-called minimum wage that was approved, there is no consequential adjustment that is attached to the minimum wage. What they did was an award of 40,000 naira across board. And that's not how to give minimum wage. And so the Nigerian worker generally today has nothing to smile about, because the so-called minimum wage cannot take us home. Thank you.
But the federal government, President, is still remaining with you. The federal government has promised they are set to pay 5 months wage award arrears to workers. Are you not happy with that?
Well, thank you very much. We are happy because a is our right. It was a part of the agreement before the minimum wage came, the implementation of the minimum wage. The Labour agreed with federal government that before the implementation of the minimum wage, that the wage award will come to cushion the effects of non-implementation. But look at the value of the naira. Every day naira loses value, and so this wage award that would have been paid before the implementation, and now it has been implemented. It was not paid then. It was only after it has been implementation, and due to pressure from labor leaders, that they are now accepting to pay the arrears that were supposed to have been paid before the implementation of the minimum wage, which has lost value. And of course, we're also grateful to Mr. President for the approval, but it will not go anywhere in assuaging or helping the workforce. But be it as it may, is our right, is our entitlement, is paid, and we'll accept it.
Let me come to Comrade Abubarkkar Yusuf. You know, the last time I checked, there are some state governments that they are yet to begin the implementation of the 70,000 naira minimum wage. That is clearly indicative of the insensitiveness of such state governments. How would you react to that?
Yeah, actually, before I go into that your question, first of all, I want to also add to what my president said regarding the May Day. You know, the theme for the May Day is reclaiming the civic space among economic hardship. That is the main theme. And as you rightly said in your prelude, you said workers celebrated this May Day with disappointment. Actually, the first disappointment is workers commemorate this May Day without salary of April. April salary was not paid, particularly in my sector, the university sector. We have not been paid our April salary. So the spirit behind this celebration is solidarity. Yeah, it's solidarity among the labor workers. That was the spirit behind this celebration, because we are highly disappointed with government. Now to your question, particularly these state governments, the National Executive Council of NEC, of NLC, and the CWC, that's the Central Working Committee, had met severally and have discussed this issue, and have given mandates to the states to declare dispute with these states who are not yet to approve this. It's very unfortunate for state government. Their revenue has increased. What they are receiving from federal government has increased over the years. So they have no reason to say they will not implement this 70,000.
And it is even backed by law, because it is illegal. It is even a crime for the state government to refuse blatantly, implementing this law. What do you think can be done by the labor leaders? Well, beyond rallies, beyond demonstrations and carrying of placards. Do you think they can seek redress in the law courts?
You know, actually, we can seek redress in the court of law, but you know how our judiciary is. Even the judiciary has compromised. Honestly, if you go there, you will just waste your time. So we are thinking of maybe taking the issue of advocacy. Yeah.
Just like what we're doing here.
Yes, just like what we're doing now. Yeah, let's point it out to them. Let them know this important they should fulfill their own bargain. We have fulfilled our own. We are doing the job.
Yes.
And we deserve to be compensated.
Beyond, Mr. National President, beyond mere rhetoric of couching the theme, shrinking the space, what do you think, what are the plans to be pragmatic, to approach it practically, than to just mere academic exercise? We are from the academia. You know, it sounds like, okay, we are going to celebrate May Day this year. Let's think about a theme. Okay, shrinking the space. It just goes there. What can be done beyond just rhetorics, beyond just mere saying it, academically?
Okay, thank you very much. I think the our labor center has also been very proactive about this. For instance, in Rivers State, where Mr. President removed an elected governor. Our labor center, Nigerian Labour Congress, said we cannot take a salute from a non-elected governor. And therefore they cancelled participation of all comrades, of all labor unions in Rivers State, including Edo State too. And so these are practical ways of ensuring that people will realize their mistakes, because by and large, we still believe that the removal of the governor of Rivers State is unconstitutional, whether they like it or they don't like it. It's our stand of NLC and Labour leaders that you cannot remove an elected governor. You have the right to declare a state of emergency, but the removing a democratic structure, an elected governor, is for us, it's a no-no.
It's a no-no.
So that is one of the practical ways of telling them to their face. We may not have the power to go and fight or do other things, but we have ways of telling truth to power, that what you have done is not right.
It's not right.
By removing, making sure that we do not recognize him, by making sure that we do not participate in whatever thing he's doing. And so it's not just about Rivers, also in other sectors of the economy. What we can do, maybe the labor organization can do, without necessarily going on strike, is civil disobedience.
Okay.
We might decide to say, okay, you want to do this, we're not going to take part, we're not going to be part of it. Civil disobedience is one of the practical means of ensuring that these things, that will take truth to power.
Yeah. I quite agree with you on that. Many people believe, the Secretary General, many people, particularly the leadership of organized labor, that the inflation, the current inflation of the country has made a nonsense of even the 70,000 naira minimum wage, which even some state governors are yet to even implement.
Yes.
Give us a picture of the suffering of, I know, I live in Nigeria, I'm a Nigerian, I know that everybody is suffering, particularly those below the ladder of success. Tell me, in what way, how does it affect them negatively?
Thank you for that question. First of all, I have to start with transportation. Our workers go to work 5 days a week. That's about 20 days a month.
In a month.
And transportation, if you, for example, if you take transportation from Gwagwalada, for example, to the city, you will spend nothing less than 1,000 naira. So you go and come back, that's about 2,000 naira. Okay? If you do a rough calculation, 2,000 naira per day in 20 days, that's about 40,000 naira out of 70,000. You see, 50% of the money has gone on transportation.
Even more than 50, yeah.
Thank you. More than 50. Now we are left with 30,000. You feed your family. When your family are sick, you take them to hospital.
Medical bills.
All on this 30,000 naira. Is that enough?
Which is not even coming from.
It's not even coming from some state government. You see, you can see how workers are suffering. We are really suffering. It's just that God is just keeping body and soul, honestly. But it's very, very inadequate. And I remember the president, when he was campaigning, he said he's going to give workers a living wage. Is that 70,000 a living wage? It's not a living wage.
So it's a dying wage.
It's a dying wage. Thank you, sir.
Well, many people have are pointing accusing fingers at the leadership. And you are part of the leadership of your various unions.
Yeah.
Of collaborative, tendencies with government officials. Would they be right to say so? Because, okay, look at the rally that took place. All government officials, apart from the Minister of Labour, everybody was represented. It shows how insensitive the current government is, with regards to the plight of Nigerian workers.
Exactly.
Mr. President, can you respond to that?
Okay, thank you very much. Before I even go into that, let me give you this analogy. Assuming a family decides to live on a loaf of bread per day, do you realize that the minimum wage cannot sustain them? Because presently a loaf of bread is 1,500.
Yeah, right.
So for 30 days, if they decide to live only
on bread,
is it's already 30,000 naira. That's 1,000 naira per day, and then the 500 that is on top times 30. So you discover that the minimum wage cannot buy a loaf of bread
Even adding water that should go with it.
Not even the water that will go with it, my brother. Thank you very much. So that's to tell you that the suffering, the masses are suffering. The workforce, the workers are suffering heavily. And then going back to your question, we are labor leaders. There's no way we can collaborate with government to add to the suffering of Nigerians. It's not possible.
Okay.
We have on our own part done all that we expected to do. Take for instance, during the negotiation of the minimum wage, NLC came with data. They came with all, okay, let's break it down. Food, transportation, feeding, health. This is the current reality on ground. Because what they were asking for is, if you know that these things are the things that is reality on ground, and therefore let us say, okay, what percentage, or even let us even be increasing the minimum wage based on inflationary rates. And government did not come up with anything to say, okay, what you have said is right. But look at our own superior logic. This is what we can do, this is what we cannot do. And so you just discover that they only say, we cannot pay. We cannot pay. Without basing it on any data.
Yeah.
And so that was wrong.
This was wrong.
And so there's no way we would have collaborated with them. They were only just trying to tell the whole world that they cannot pay, even when they know that they can pay. Even after this pronunciation of the 70,000, some of them went back just to please people and say, okay, we'll pay 75, we'll pay 80. Even when they knew from my initial that within the negotiation, they were saying they can't pay more than 52,000. It took labor with their usual way to even jack it up to 70%, 70,000 naira, sorry. And so labor is not collaborating with government to give this type of suffering to Nigerian masses. No way.
Well, I'm not asking the next question for you to blow your trumpet, even though there's a new public relations axiom that says, if you do not say I am, nobody will say you are. You took mantle of leadership. You threw your hat in the race to contest for this office because you saw something that that was wrong, or you needed to add up to an existing pragmatic efforts of the previous leadership. And you are now holding sway as national president of Association of Academic Technologists. So some of your members may be watching this program and they'll be like, yeah, that's my president representing us. Do you think you are representing them well? What would you say that you saw that you needed to change or you needed to add for you to become national president?
Thank you very much. Let's even take the current thing that is the major problem now in Nigerian public universities, federal universities. In the last 1 week, or 1 or 2 weeks, there has been this problem, there has been this thing that has been in the news, that government is disbursing 50 billion naira to federal public universities. And there was this false alarm, this negative letter that was written by the permanent secretary announcing that the payment was for a particular set of people in the university. It took the intervention of our union to draw the attention of government. But no, this is wrong. This is not our agreement, because we have an MOU signed by the government and people should walk their talk. If you sign an agreement with our MOU with labor unions, you should be able to keep to it, because when that agreement was signed, they told us that 50 billion naira will be released, and that 50 billion naira is for EA and EAA. And so when this thing letter came, we promptly notified the minister, we shouted, we raised the alarm, and today the EA and EAA, the government has now made it clear that that money is for EA, which is for the non-teaching staff, and the EA for academic staff, but it does not stop there. Today we are still saying, we are insisting that you must use a template. When you are disbursing that money, there must be a template for which people will know, because it's not a bonanza. The sharing of that money is not a bonanza. It is earned. And when you earn it, that's when you are paid. And so we are saying we have a 2009 agreement with federal government, and that you must use that agreement to generate a template, because that's one they generated in 2013, the first time that EA was paid, and allowance then, before it now evolved, because some group now brought it EAA after that first payment. So we are still insisting that use templates when you want to pay. Those are the things we have brought to bear to the union. And of course, there are so many. Before we came on board, we had 2009 agreement. There was no circular backing it. We were the first union among all the 4 university-based unions to have National Income Service and Wages Commission to give us circulars that backed some of the allowances in the 2009 agreement. So these are the things we have brought to bear.
Secretary General, is there something you want to add to that?
Yeah.
We're winding down.
Okay. Yeah, what I want to add is, just like the President has said, the burning issue is the 2009 agreement, which is an agreement that was signed with government that year, that that agreement should be renegotiated after every 3 years. And in fact, like as we are talking now, a committee has been set up by the federal government for renegotiation of this agreement. Yes. And we hope we will achieve that.
Well, as labor leaders, you are also politicians. In fact, you are playing partisan politics. We cannot end this conversation without asking you about the journey towards 2027. There is general hardship. People are complaining, people are groaning, including your members. Yet, in the midst of all this despondency and widespread insecurity ravaging the land, there are defections to the ruling All Progressives Congress. Moving towards the 2027, how does that make you feel, and how do you see the trajectory?
Well, thank you very much. This question is germane. In the first place, you already know the adage. If you move to APC, your sins are forgiven. All your sins are forgiven. Those that are under the watch of EFCC, it is government. The present government is using coercive measures to make sure that they move to. But we must point out the danger of a one-party state. But again, the defections will not really matter when it comes to. Some people might think that it will also play a role. Yes, we believe it may play a role. But remember that one candidate in 2023 got 6 million votes. That candidate did not have one single governor. He didn't have anybody. So it might be 2027 might be APC and the people.
Do you believe that?
Yeah, I truly believe that. Because the hardship is enough. It's a symbol, it's a signal for the government to know that it is the government against the people. And it's one vote, one man. One man, one vote.
Well, thank you so very much, Comrade Ibeji Nwokoma, National President of National Association of Academic Technologists. Thank you for coming to the program.
Thank you very much.
Thank you,
pleasure to be here.
Abubarkkar Yusuf. We most profoundly appreciate your visit to KAFTANTV, particularly on the Polity. Thank you so very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Well, our esteemed viewers, we'll be coming back shortly after this break. Please don't go anywhere. Stay with us. We'll be right back.